Okay. So we are again, Nathan, our chair, will not be with us this morning. Um, and we have a couple of things to discuss that are coming down the pike fairly quickly at the beginning of this quarter. I'll quickly give an update on what's happening for the Corporate Social Purpose Network. And then we can move over to some more priority items that are coming up for conference related items, Day on the Hill, which is a bit sooner. Corporate Social Purpose Network. So we actually had our first core meeting yesterday for the 2026 year. As a reminder, the core is the leadership body for the network. And the major items that are being discussed right now are the upcoming events, which is the first Purpose Exchange of the year, which is going to happen in February 26th. The focus of the conversation, Wade and our honorary chair at Dollar General, Deneen Tor, one of our other core members, Rebecca, I'm forgetting her last name, at the Predators, but they right now are working together on a project with Nashville Public Schools, which is really cool. And from that birthed the idea of having the topic conversation be how businesses, corporations, civic institutions, but really targeting business corporations can successfully come together with with state and local governments to partner and what that looks like. So we're building that conversation right now. If you'll have any recommendations, would welcome that for folks to potentially join a panel or to lead a discussion. And then, of course, the corporate social purpose track, which I don't know if Candace, our conference director, will be able to join us this morning, but we do have that on the agenda. So we can talk about that a little bit later, but that will be happening as well, March 9th. We're still very much in the recruitment phase. Of course, we're still in the, not pilot, but in our inaugural year. We have gone 6 months now. I think fairly successfully have 35 members, 35 companies represented within the network, but still very heavy in the Middle Tennessee area. So our recruitment officer is building up a plan. We're working with Tasha Price, who is amazing on that. And I'll give two more mini points. Wade Monday is going to move over to being our chair. So he is the vice chair right now. He's the director of social impact and philanthropy at Bridgestone, and he's moving over to being the chair in June. And so we're looking for a couple other positions, vice chair. I have a couple of folks who are staying in their offices. And the last thing I will say, going back to that regional representation, always looking for recommendations, connects, particularly for those in West East Tennessee. So if you know of any businesses, folks who are in that realm of work, corporate social responsibility, so that could be like corporate communications, community engagement, community impact, philanthropy, volunteer, obviously employee volunteer programs, that would be very helpful if you pass that info over. All right. That is all I have for corporate social purpose right now. A lot of good is happening. Any questions or thoughts before we move over to our next agenda item?
Latifah, what did you said Wade, what is his last name?
Monday, spelt with a U instead of an O, Monday.
Okay, thank you.
Of course. Wade is awesome, and we're really excited for him to move over to this position. Nikki Catrone at Slavamo has been great. She'll stay on the core team, but she's passing the baton.
Very, very good. Thank you.
What is the obligation for those who participate in the network?
Yeah, obligation. We don't like to use such strong language, but
I know. What are you looking for? Like what kind of participation?
Oh, in the core. So the network member versus the core. So the core leadership body, that would be like, you're attending meetings, they're bi-monthly. So, and then we also skip July for like a summer break. So there are only 5 meetings a year. We do hope that the communications officer just shared this with the core yesterday, that folks will be intentional about sharing posts and reaching out to like their community in some form once a month. I would say on the Volunteer Tennessee end, if they're actively, reposting something like once a quarter, reaching out, attending an event, like one event each quarter, or even, two events in the year. We have a document that states this that I'm trying to like remind myself of right now, but not successfully. And then also they have the opportunity, though it's not a requirement, but it's a hope. And so not even an expectation, it's a hope that they would participate in some form of in-kind donation or sponsorship to Volunteer Tennessee or to a network event. But if they could just share their time and their energy and be an advocate in the simplest form, because these folks are, very busy as we all are, and many times are running regional teams. But yeah, that would also be great.
Thank you.
Of course. All right. Thanks for those questions. I have not successfully gotten to where I needed to be as yet. I believe the next topic of discussion is on the state plan, the annual plan. This team has not as yet been able to actually talk through the annual plan. I think right now would obviously just be like brainstorming. And let me roll back. So this committee, Jim, is it going to be separated? Last time Nathan and I spoke, we were thinking that it would be soon.
I believe so, and I think Harry can confirm that, but I think we are going to do our best to try and split the committees so that we have a separate communications and separately a strategic partnerships committee.
I had asked Rebecca Henderson to chair strategic partnerships, and Nathan is going to help her with that transition, and so it will happen.
Okay.
So I wonder how this discussion goes when thinking about that. Do we want?
Yeah, and I'm
to-
sorry.
Mhm.
Sorry, Latifah. I'm looking through the notes from the retreat, and I know, Jason, I think you were in the strategic partnerships group, but I don't see any notes from that committee.
So it was kind of an interesting circumstance. What we ended up doing when we decided to work on that was we split the two between strategic partnerships and communications. And so we worked independently on the two topics.
Yeah.
I think it was just me and Nestor that worked on
right.
communications, which was a bit because we had never really looked specifically at that before. So
Sure.
My apologies for whatever state that is. In terms of the strategic partnerships piece, I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yep.
Yeah, that's okay, because I also don't have any notes from the communications group. So
what? Okay.
I mean, it's possible. I'm just looking at these big. Sorry, it's kind of.
Whoa,
but anyway,
those are
this big
super
sheet.
frank. Yeah. No, I remember Nathan taking. I think maybe he was gonna look at the notes because we were gonna turn it in, and then he was gonna kind of look at it. So, yeah.
Maybe he was going to try and tidy them up a little bit. Yeah, I'll follow up with him on that and see if he's got those. Yeah.
Oh boy.
That's okay. I mean, we'll figure it out. I mean, I'm sure that somebody has the notes. I just don't have them.
Yeah. I'm also remembering I recorded the I don't know how well that would have turned out, but I did record for the for Nathan's group because we had two people online as well. And so I think that would have gone to you, Jim, because I was trying to find it. I totally forgot about this. I was trying to find it. So I don't know, that may be helpful. And if I can get that transcript, then I can try to create notes from that. Though again, that may be a little difficult considering the hybrid nature of that conversation. Amy, welcome. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. I didn't say that to anyone.
Thank you. Happy to see everybody.
Well, Latifah, if you'll remind me later after this call, if you'll connect with me and we'll try and figure out if we've got that recording. I don't remember right offhand seeing it in the, because Teams sends you a notification when the recordings have been processed. But that doesn't mean it wasn't. We'll just have to look.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. So then for this conversation, is this communications annual planning, or break it up? Do we want to do both communications and strategic partnerships, maybe like tackle?
I think for the purposes of this meeting, I think it's still kind of a combined group. So I think probably just talking about generalities and things that kind of cross both groups. And so maybe the focus should be like maybe the day on the hill, because that's something that is, I think, applies to both committees. And then in future meetings, when the two groups actually completely split, we can figure out how to kind of collect and or recreate, if needed, the plans that the individual groups developed at the retreat.
Sounds like a plan. Sounds like a plan. I am pulling up the template to start us off. So Jim gave an excellent recommendation, which is on our agenda today. So thinking through items for the annual plan for Day on the Hill, which is in a little bit less than a month away, on February 6th, is what my brain is telling me right now. I hope I remember. 4th. Yeah. It's on February 4th, so a little less than a month away. I guess we could start with communications. The communications piece. And I'm looking at the old annual plan, which is frozen on me. I mean, exit that. Sorry, team, but maybe we could think through what goals would be reasonable within this less than a month period of time.
Is there a way?
Have you sent an invite out for that? Because I don't see it on my calendar.
The calendar, I haven't sent out the calendar appointment yet because we
Day
now
on the
have
Hill.
I sent out the list of meetings a week or so ago. I haven't sent out the actual calendar appointment yet because I need to create the WebEx webinar, I think, for this. I mean, technically it is a public meeting, but anyway, I haven't figured out yet how to create the webinar, the WebEx webinar, for just the part that's going to be at the very end of the day, because in previous years we would have the Day on the Hill and then come back together and convene and have like a mini commission meeting, but we're not doing that. So anyway, it's a little bit complicated. I haven't figured out yet how to do it.
Jim sent that email on January 5th, so you can look for a January 5th email.
Yeah, and that's just the list of dates. It's not the actual calendar appointment. I'm going to try and do the calendar appointments today or tomorrow if I can figure out that WebEx thing, because I need to create the WebEx webinars before I send the calendar. Well, I guess I could do just save the hold the date thing and then later go back and put in the WebEx information. Maybe I'll do that.
But it does include the registration information and volunteering.
Yeah, that's in there for the conference and the GBSA and volunteering for those. And then also there's a survey to respond for people who are going to participate in the Day on the Hill, so that I can get a count on that and also have people tell me what their lunch preference is. Amy, if you don't have that, I can resend that to you.
Yeah, it's probably a few hundred emails ago. I'm sorry, we had holiday lights
That's
going
okay.
on.
Yeah. I'll
if you don't mind, I'm sorry.
No, it's no problem at all. I'll do that right now.
Okay.
Is it possible to bring up the old document? We have like a point of reference.
Absolutely. And you have called attention to my deep flaw right now, because that is what I am trying to do right now, Jason, and unsuccessfully so.
Right. It's okay.
But yes, I know that would be very important to this conversation. I was trying to get into our folder, which I know it is in there, but I'm going to, because it also, I would be able to share the link with you all, which everyone has access to that folder, but I'm just going to go and put it on our screen. And Jim, could you actually remind me, is it in the committee folder? Because I was trying to access it via the general SharePoint folder. So I'm
Yeah,
forgetting.
I'm not sure what document you're trying to get to.
This would be, I think, the old communications annual plan.
Oh, the old one, let's see, I can probably pull that up fairly quickly. It's in the planning folder under the previous, let's see. I'm pulling up the combined one because it has both the
Yeah.
communications and the strategic partnerships committee information in it.
Thanks, Jim.
Is that working? Can
Oh,
Yeah.
everybody see that? Okay. So let's see. Let me go to the communications committee part, and then we can go down to the strategic partnerships. And sorry, I'm looking for stuff that's specific to the day on the hill. Oh, here's something. So this last
It's
one,
it's super tiny on my end. I mean, it's a little hard to read. I don't know.
yeah, I don't know. Did that help? If I,
that looks pretty good. Yeah.
yeah, I can't get the full sheet on, but I can kind of scroll back and forth left and right. But the previous thing for the communications committee for the Day on the Hill looks like it was related to year-round communication. Align DOH leave behind materials with goals, and then the outcome. Sorry, let me make this a little bit bigger. Build relationships with elected officials. So it looks like it's more the goal or the activities were more related to kind of materials and ongoing communications outside of the Day on the Hill. But then there was the support the Day on the Hill with 70% commissioner attendance, which we did not have 70% participate last year, which is why there's it was 27%.
I was going to say, Jim, does 70% seem really high, like in general, for this particular activity?
It is higher than actual participation. Now, in terms of where I think participation should be and where other folks have expressed where they think participation should be, it should be much higher than 27%.
Yeah. So 70% is like a reasonable goal to grow towards.
I think so. I mean, it might make sense to drop it down a little bit because it is so low right now, and kind of build the participation over the next couple years of this current 3-year state plan.
Okay.
This is the communications committee routine plan, not their state plan. So, but I mean, the two kind of align in some ways. Anyway, 70% might be too high to go from 27% to 70% in 1 year. So maybe it needs to get dialed back a bit. Let's see. Let me go down to the. Let's make sure there's not other stuff on the communications committee. Yeah, okay. Let me go down to the strategic partnerships committee section and see if there was any specific day on the Hill stuff for that committee. I can't remember right offhand.
Not
There
really.
was.
I don't remember that being, but there
Yeah.
were a couple at the bottom for communications.
Yeah, sorry, Latifah, I'll go back in just a second.
Mhm.
At the bottom of you
The
mean something that I
communications, there were a
missed?
couple there. EOH. So notify media, publicize DOH, support.
Oh
Day on
yeah,
the
those,
Hill.
the activities. Yeah, those kind of fit in with the supporting the Day on the Hill, the elevator speech training, which we did a training last year, if folks remember, and I think we recorded that. So we've got that available.
Oh, let me mute. Okay.
Yeah, so we've got that recorded. We can go back and take a look and make sure it still says what we need it to say. And then the other one was notify media and publicize Day on the Hill on social media.
So I feel like I recall social media posts that came across my feed after the Day on the Hill with folks that visited with different legislators that kind of highlighted that. I think there may have even been a series of like, they met with this person, they met with this, as opposed to like an aggregate post. But it stands out to me that I think that happened.
Yeah. And we certainly encouraged commission members to take photos during their visits and then post those photos either that right after that meeting or that same day, and a lot of people did. So that I think worked really well. I don't know, because I don't really remember the intent of this, because it says publicize Day on the Hill on social media. I don't know if that meant before the Day on the Hill or during / after the Day on the Hill. I think you're right, though. I think we did have quite a few people who posted things from their visits last year. I don't know how much traction that got, but it was out there.
For Day on the Hill, if we were to do something that highlighted it before it happened, what would be the desired outcome? I mean, sometimes I see when other organizations visit and do their Day on the Hill, and sometimes they'll do it like, I mean, it's not that dissimilar to what we do, but they'll be like, the McNabb Center is at, in Nashville visiting with so-and-so, and then later they might post some other photos. But I don't know if I've ever seen like in a week, we're going to visit and do our Day on the Hill. It usually feels like a in the moment or like a reflection kind of.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I'm not saying that we should do stuff on social media. The way this is worded, it's not clear to me what the intent was of the committee. And I don't remember the discussions around it. So I mean,
That's fair.
Yeah, I don't think if someone has a good idea for how we could do social media prior to the Day on the Hill, I think we should absolutely do that, but I don't have anything in mind about how we would do that.
And um, I know what I've seen. It's not usually to get people to participate because we're not looking for, unless we are looking for community partners to join us on Day on the Hill. It's more of like a, hey, we're doing this soon, and this is what we did last year, and this is why we're doing it kind of post.
Mhm. Yeah, that's a good framing for it. Yeah, that's good.
Okay, so and I want to remind the team of something Nathan and this group talked about, making sure that when developing the annual plan, it's things that as much as possible are relevant and realistic for this group to accomplish. So for the upcoming Day on the Hill, since that's where we are, what would make sense? Do we want to carry this over, this entire thing, and then probably clarify that, I don't know about notify media, that I would need clarification on as well, but I guess publicize post Stay on the Hill success potentially. But yeah, what is the hope here that we can carry over to the annual plan?
I don't know what was done with like notifying the media, but it seems like socials are something that our group is able to effectively do. So I think maintaining that. I don't know about notifying the media and doing press releases. I mean, thing about it also is like, during Day on the Hill season, everybody's doing Day on the Hill season. So it's kind of like, yes, Volunteer Tennessee went and visited with legislators, but so did, the Tennessee Nonprofit Network and all these other folks. I don't know if that's going to get you much traction in terms of like television or newspapers or things like that. But socials seems to be effective. I would be comfortable carrying that over, especially with the capacity we have and the fact that this committee is kind of in like a soon to be splitting kind of format. Yeah, just because there's going to be some transition in it.
Jim, can you remind me of the column titles? I know there's the activity, but what happens prior to that? So what when? Okay. Yeah, I agree about the social media piece, especially for this group to be able to like successfully support on interventions outputs.
Sorry, Latifa, I was on mute and answering your question about what came before. So there's inputs and then activities, and under activities, there's what, who, when, and day completed, and then there's outputs and outcomes. I mean, I think for the purposes of notes for this call, I think if you can just kind of focus on capturing the activities, which is kind of like the stuff that's here from last year, but updating it to capture what the group's talking about right now. And I think just for clarity, I think instead of saying publicized Day on the Hill on social media, I would say maybe
promote
or post
post
Day on the Hill visits on social media or something like that, to make it clear that we're talking about not something that's happening beforehand, but that's something that's happening to capture, the live visits, so to speak, even if it's posted later on that day.
So what would be a reasonable number for the group to agree upon? Is it based on committee member, or just like total, the committee will post this number? Because again, hoping to, based off of y'all's conversation, remove as much as staff as possible, because we have our plans, of course, and then make this as commission specific, committee member specific as possible.
I mean, I feel like a minimum of 3 posts. I don't know. That's just a number I grabbed, but I feel like I saw at least 3 different variations of, Day on the Hill content last year. So that seems like it's a real viable, like among the groups that are there, at least 3 of those groups are going to take some pictures and post them on socials. And they can get shared around.
Okay, and this committee would be, so this would be like, oh, members from this committee are going to post on their social channels, 3 posts.
Well, so I appreciate the effort of removing staff from the equation, but in terms of like being present, well, I guess members could post and then Volunteer Tennessee's socials could share it, but there might be some value in the Volunteer Tennessee social instead of having like all these kind of disparate, like, oh, I went to Nashville and I met with a legislator for this Volunteer Tennessee thing. Volunteer Tennessee could have like a collective, maybe it could be like the aggregation of that content where like our commissioners did the visits and so
Yeah.
like between the say 3 commission posts that would generate the imagery and the content necessary for Volunteer Tennessee to do like an aggregate post or something like that.
Yeah, and we'll definitely we have our plan and what we'll be posting. I think that what you all talked about last time is like the goal of like what the commission will be able to like actually realistically do, which I feel like when we say post, it could actually be, oh, you plan on reposting what Volunteer Tennessee has already posted or posting your own, but whatever it is, this certain amount that this committee will be responsible for.
If reposting counts, I'd say a higher number than 3 probably, because I mean, I feel like 3 people generating content is like, that seems like a safe bet. I feel like at least several more would be sharing it, right? Is there a number attributed to that already?
I don't think it had, it didn't have any kind of output.
No number.
So
Okay.
yeah, no. I mean, well, the output was related to the attendance. And I just as a note, kind of related to all of this, I think it would be helpful if 1 or 2 members of this committee would be willing to review the recording from last year to see if they think we need to redo it, or if we just need to post it and have people who are going to be participating just watch it again, or if we need to completely revise it, including, it's been a year, so I don't really remember, if there are instructions in that video for taking pictures and posting. I think I think we talked about that during that recorded session, but I don't remember 100%. But if it's not in there, then we should certainly revise that training to include a little bit about taking a photo and then posting it and tagging specifically Volunteer Tennessee so that we can build on it and not just have to rely on the official Volunteer Tennessee account to post things for the Down the Hill.
You're right, Jim. We talked about it briefly, but it was more of a send all of the photos to staff and then we did it. So it wasn't necessarily like a lane of what the actual commissioner is like posting or reposting. It was just send it all to us.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So we might want to reconsider that. So anyway, I think it still would be valuable to have 1 or 2 of this group to review that recording. But 1, just to make sure that it makes sense. Like if it doesn't make sense to you all, then it's probably not going to make sense to other commission members. And if we do need to revise the bit about the social media, we can just redo it. But that would have to happen pretty quickly because the Day on the Hill is on the 4th. And I think last year what we did is we did that virtual training a week beforehand and we recorded it and then made that recording available for folks who weren't available during the live session. So if we need to re-record it and do another live session, it would probably need to happen on on or slightly before the 28th of this month.
Is it on Basecamp?
I don't remember where it is, honestly. I think it's probably on our YouTube account. Well, staff will have to do some research to figure out where it is. I think we posted it on YouTube so that again, so that folks who weren't able to be at the live training could go and view it before the down the hill.
Yeah,
If
it is on YouTube.
I was going to say, if y'all have a link and want to send it to me, I can take a look at it.
Okay, thanks,
Mhm.
Jason.
I'm happy to do that too.
Awesome.
I'll
Okay,
look for it
Jason
now.
and Terry.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And also be cognizant of time. So it's 10:41. Do we want to continue with the annual plan or, and I mean, we are talking about something else that's on the agenda, which is Day on the Hill. Do we want to continue in this arena or move over to the other items are the conference, which of course can help with the annual plan building. So maybe we could just like kind of build all of that into the annual plan conversation, but up to you all.
What I would, sorry, Jason, what I would suggest is that we stay on Day on the Hill just for a little bit longer to talk about the actual materials that we handed out, and whether or not folks want to take another run at those. I mean, we kind of revised the way we did it last year, and I'd have to go back and look at the evaluations from the commission members who participated. But you know, do we want to take another crack at revising the leave behind materials? Or people were happy with what we used last year?
So what I will say is that I think the materials last year were good materials, and I think all the materials that have ever been done have been meaningful and have helped facilitate the conversations and are educational. I think this year is and last year. I mean, there's been a lot of change lately, so it might be worth considering. I don't know like how deep of a dive we can do on the content considering the time frame building up to it, but like there might be certain priorities that are worth highlighting that are unique to this moment in history versus others that may be less relevant to the legislators that we would talk to. It's just a thought.
Well, I do think that paring it down into more bullets rather than paragraphs of stuff was really helpful because it's really hard to weed through. I mean, we can do the leave behind with more detail or as a reference, but that helped having it a little more concise last year.
Yeah.
Just a thought, I think things that are maybe like on people's minds, anything kind of updating people on like Helene response, public safety and security seems to be a emphasis at the moment, which might be of interest to some legislators. I don't know what programs are going to be the best highlight around it, but there may be some like themes or like adjacent themes that kind of speak towards community work that emphasizes creating safe environments for people.
What I can do, because I'm also thinking, of course, we didn't get to talk about this today, but maybe you all saw Jim was able to put out the position for the community engagement outreach officer, which is really awesome, manager. And of course, so I say that to say that's exciting, but also we are down a person still who would typically have that role. I agree, and I think that staff would agree that this is a time for looking at the materials. So I'm saying multiple things there. So I don't know what our capacity actually like lends.
Yeah.
But I can put together a survey and put it out with this next with the meeting follow-up email to get feedback on what should be included. If that makes sense, maybe that's a little bit much. Maybe we can have the conversation here and figure out if it's possible.
I mean, it might even be just like, I'm all about consensus, but for the purpose of like for the purposes of balancing having that content versus like creating a process that has to be managed and kind of expands the amount of time that's spent on it. Maybe there's just like, not to be like Latifah, you know who to highlight. So you just tell us who to highlight and we'll just be like, that sounds like a great idea. Because I also don't want to put it all on you, but just like something that creates a more concise process where maybe all the materials don't need to be updated, but maybe we can just identify like, hey, maybe it would be interesting to talk about like an update on the Helene response, because that seems to be something that people broadly agree that is like, oh, that was a really bad thing. We want to highlight and be a part of like the recovery efforts related to that. And if there was some kind of programming again, and it's such a tough thing to frame because I feel like the theme of public safety is can be contentious, but I think if there's ways that like programs are addressing public safety that can be really kind of consensus building in terms of like, well, you know, what we see on the news is evoking like really strong polarizing feelings, but maybe there's an example of like an AmeriCorps program, or volunteers that are doing some like really meaningful public safety work, maybe even attached to Helene or like the recovery, building safe neighborhoods, that kind of thing.
Well, certainly mentioning the CERT program and all those trainings,
Yeah.
definitely.
It's a good one. It's always a good one.
Yeah, so one, Candace just put something in the chat about and so I'm sorry, somehow or another, WebEx is still new to us, and somehow or another, I have managed to disappear the actual video, so I can't see any of you, or anything that's going on in the webinar. But I think Terry had her hand up, and I wanted to make sure that
Yes,
Terry
we
Terry
do.
wanted to say something about all of this. That
I did. I agreed. I was going to say something, but it was already said. So
okay.
I'm sorry. I'll figure out how to get my hand in.
No, that's terrible.
Thank you.
That's completely okay. Because one of the things I was trying to do is figure out how to raise my hand, but I lost all. I can't see anything now. So one thing I would say, let's not send out a survey. Instead, what I would recommend as follow-up to this meeting, if everybody is okay with it, because obviously we've got folks who aren't on the call who we would like to engage, that we send out. We'll find the recording because we have it somewhere. We just need to locate it. We'll send a link to the recording, and then also the leave behinds that we used last year. And I just ask folks from this committee to give us input on if they want us to change anything, add, like include different highlights. I mean, we've already talked about a couple with this group, like the CERT stuff, I think is a great idea. And I think if we just do that and just have the committee members give us some input and feedback on last year's, we can maybe make the changes quickly, because as we've already discussed, I mean, we're going to have to do any changes that we need to do to the actual leave behind materials. We'll have to have folks who aren't necessarily, communications people do that.
Yeah.
I did send because I don't know where the chat is, but I responded to your January 5th email to everybody with what I wasn't there, but it was a January 9th YouTube video of the commission meeting, and I assume that might be it. So I sent the link. So
January 9th. The Day on the Hill last year was in March, if I remember correctly, and I don't remember when we did the training. We'll figure it out though. I'm almost sure that we recorded that, because we did have people who weren't available for the live training, and we provided them with a link so that they could view it later.
okay, I just did a YouTube search, Volunteer Tennessee Commission meeting January, and that's what came up. So if you did March, whenever it was, looks like it'll pop up.
Yeah, we'll find it, and if it's not on YouTube, we'll put it on YouTube and make that link available as follow up to this meeting.
Indeed. Checking time again. It says 10:51. I have on here review materials for Down the Hill 2026. I also have added here review materials for Day on the Hill 2027, but for the sake of the very fast approaching Day on the Hill, all committee members will be responsible for reviewing these materials, is what was just decided. Maybe not all committee members, but are there folks on this call who are saying they will be responsible for reviewing those materials? Obviously, Volunteer Tennessee will be reviewing them as well.
Yeah, I'll look at them.
Yeah, I thought maybe I misunderstood Jim, but I thought he said that if we send it to the committee, then let hopefully more than just two of us will look at them and
Yeah.
give us some, good feedback.
Totally.
Yeah,
For
I
the
think
sake
we
of
had,
the plan, I was just trying
Yeah.
to put names on there or put committee
Yeah.
members, which would,
I think we had 2 people commit to reviewing
mhm,
last
The
year's
recording.
training.
Yes.
But then I think we ask the entire committee, including
Yeah.
those that aren't on the call, to
Yeah.
review the materials and give us feedback. And we'll have to put a fairly quick turnaround on that feedback
Yes.
because we are getting close to the date. So we'll probably have to ask people to review and give us feedback within a week of when we get the follow-up email out.
Yeah.
But I think that is we'll ask all of the committee members to take a look.
Okay, then my hope is to get that out today along with the survey. And then everyone would have until the 16th to review.
Okay.
Any other items for Day on the Hill 2026? Again, I have 2027 review materials for Day on the Hill, but anything else for 2026? Post, repost, 5 to 10 Day on the Hill visits. I'll figure out that
So-
language on social media for 3 to 5 committee members.
So last year, it seemed like we had a good number of, of AmeriCorps program folks who attended with us. How is that being organized this year? Or are we doing that?
Yeah, the
aggressively?
AmeriCorps team sent out a survey maybe 2 days ago, I think. I'm looking. And as we sent out a survey to assess if anyone would be able to join us from the program end. And I'm pulling up right now to see if we have anyone who's responded. I know Jason on the call this morning, our committee member, commission member, has already shared that maybe someone from his team will be able to join. But I'll pull that up right now.
I think it's such an interesting time to do Day on the Hill because sometimes I feel like volunteerism and service feels like kind of a background thing, but I think there's a unique opportunity to show how volunteerism and service kind of fills gaps that people might be noticing. So that like regardless of like where you're coming from, you can look at that and be like, okay, AmeriCorps or volunteers are stepping up to do, rebuilding after disasters, or if there's some kind of like sudden urgent need for food, this is the ways that like different organizations are stepping up to support that.
Mm-hmm.
Those are good. I think those are good stories to tell, to kind of personal or whoops, I keep cutting myself in and out. To make it, you want to connect a story rather than just facts, so they can connect with it.
Like nobody wants to be told like, oh, because of current policies, food insecurity has gone up and this is how bad it is. Instead, it'd be better to be like, to address the, food insecurity needs in our community, this is how, AmeriCorps is like coming together and organizing these unique feeding operations, or how volunteers are, really showing up at their church to come together and make sure people are taken care of. Yeah.
Always hear the stories are, the impact is what matters. We have 5 programs. I was trying to talk and read at the same time. We have 5 programs who've expressed interest, 3 who have committed, yes, but 5 who've expressed interest, which is really good.
Yeah.
So I will again share what we have for the annual plan, which is the repost 5 to 10 Day on the Hill visits for social media. This is 3 to 5 committee members that I've put on here for the annual plan. Correct me if that doesn't feel right. And then review recording to assess if it needs to be revised. Jason and Terry have wonderfully offered to do that. And that would be, I'm going to say probably by the 16th as well. And then review materials for Down the Hill 2026. That's all committee members, the 16th. And then review materials for Down the Hill 2027. I guess that's a date that can be decided at a later time. Are there any other items that we want to talk about in this 4-minute period for Day on the Hill that's coming up?
Just real quickly, I just posted in the chat, I found the YouTube, unfortunately, someone had unpublished it and listed it as archived. So it is, you should be able to access it with that link. And we'll send the link out as follow-up as well. So folks can take a look at that.
I feel like I'm wearing the same clothes in that video, or at least this jacket.
I haven't looked at it, but maybe I am.
I clicked it and I went to it, and I'm definitely wearing this. It's like, huh, all
You
right.
have a slightly different hairdo, so we
It's
totally get it.
just how the hair fell that day. It's basically the same.
Oh.
I don't think you can say that guys have a hairdo, though. I think you,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to offend you. You look amazing.
Oh, thanks.
Some sauce. Okay, hairdos and whatnot. All of these things will go out to you all by today. Candace, do you want to give a quick, have any requests of the committee regarding the conference? We have a couple of minutes.
Not right now. I'm not prepared, especially not with 2 minutes. I talk longer than that, but yeah, not right now.
Cool. So, anyone else have anything to share?
I know Candace said she wasn't prepared. I'm not going to put you on the spot. But I'm just,
I
and
can
I think
answer
the answer-
questions. I just don't have a formal
Yeah.
presentation.
Yeah, that's fine. Sponsorships, how are we at with that? And would it be helpful to be like drumming up more of that?
That is a great question and a great segue, Jason. I'm always going to say yes. Always, always, always. Right now, we have a couple that are just kind of lingering that were here from last year.
Yep.
A lot of them are just like, now that it's 2026, now it's the time to reapply for it. So if you have any sponsorships, I'll yes, and yes. We
Send
could always use
sponsors.
more money.
Okay.
Yeah, send sponsors. We could always use more money. But if you do, like, please just let me know, because I am extremely busy and I would love to collaborate on the submission of the sponsorship instead of
Yeah.
just to make sure. Yeah, thanks, Jason.
I will reattach that in this follow-up email. I know we said that
Oh, thank you.
before, of course. I will attach the sponsorship package for the team. All right. Anything else for Candace? Any other questions? I know we do not have a lot of time, so I'm sure Candace wouldn't mind if we save those questions. And we do meet, of course, monthly, at least at this point.
And
right.
sorry, just before we're out of time, just for the record, we did not receive any requests for public comment.
Okay, enjoy your Friday, y'all, and please look out for that email coming to you sometime today. All the details.
Sounds good.
Thanks, everybody.
Take
Have a good
care.
one.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year indeed.
I cannot operate this system. Like, I don't know where the chat is. How do you exit?
Exit is at the very bottom with the
It won't let
X.
me, like, I keep hitting the
Oh.
button and it won't. Okay.
Yeah, same
It's
here.
a user error. It's a user error.
But
I
that
can-
chat is in the little message
Oh.
bubble in the lower right-hand corner. I found it
Thanks,
2
James.
minutes ago.
I see the bubble now. I'll get
Same.
used to it. Okay, here we go.
All right, bye.
Bye.